Jasmine, a reserved and introverted child since her early years, struggled to form friendships. Unfortunately, her peers found her to be quiet and boring, making it challenging for her to connect with them. Consequently, she immersed herself in the world of books, often spending her time reading alone at the park while other children engaged in playful activities. One day, while Jasmine was engrossed in her solitary reading, on a park bench, a boy her age, named Alex, unexpectedly joined her and initiated a conversation. At first, Jasmine was thrilled at the prospect of making a new friend. However, as Alex continued to talk incessantly, she gradually began to find his constant chatter rather annoying. As fate would have it, Jasmine discovered that Alex was in the same class as her at school. He not only sat beside her in class, but also seemed to be everywhere she went, continuing his relentless chatter about topics that didn't particularly interest her. Jasmine made several attempts to distance herself from Alex, but he always managed to find a way to reach out to her. However, over time, Jasmine's initial annoyance began to wane, and she started to realize that behind his constant talk, Alex was genuinely sweet and kind. Their bond grew stronger, and eventually, they became inseparable best friends. As they continued to grow up, Jasmine found herself developing a crush on Alex, but she was hesitant to confess her feelings, fearing it might jeopardize their precious friendship. Meanwhile, Alex's charming personality led him to become quite the flirt, extending his flirtations to almost every girl in their school and even neighboring ones. His relationships rarely lasted more than 2 weeks. Despite Alex's flirtatious nature and Jasmine's secret feelings, their bond remained as strong as ever. As Alex continued to date various girls, he became increasingly protective of Jasmine, keeping other boys at bay. Initially, Jasmine didn't mind, as she was solely interested in Alex and didn't pay much attention to other boys. However, over time, she began to feel annoyed by the double standard that allowed him to date freely, while limiting her interactions with other guys. Frustrated by this, she decided to confront Alex about it. When she asked why he was being so protective, he simply stated that he was looking out for her. Jasmine, feeling independent and capable of making her own choices, told him that she didn't need his protection and walked out on him. In a spur-of-the-moment decision, Jasmine decided to accept the next person who asked her out, regardless of her feelings towards them. As she was walking out, she unexpectedly bumped into Ray, one of the so-called popular guys at school. Ray helped her to her feet and offered an apology, to which Jasmine responded with understanding and prepared to leave. However, Ray took a gentle hold of her hand and, with newfound courage, confessed that he had been keeping an eye on her for a while and now wished to ask her out on a date. Even though Jasmine wasn't particularly interested, she found herself agreeing to his proposal. Jasmine and Ray, on their first date at a quiet and affordable yet classy restaurant, were about to eat, when Alex suddenly appeared in front of them with another girl by his side. He casually inquired if he could join them, and swiftly took a seat with the girl beside him. Jasmine couldn't help but ask him what he was doing there. Alex explained it was merely a coincidence, and that he had originally planned to come to this restaurant with his date. However, upon spotting Jasmine and Ray, he decided to turn it into an impromptu double date without waiting for their approval. During the entire date, Alex continued to talk over Ray every time he attempted to engage in a conversation, and he seemed more interested in Jasmine than his own date. Jasmine couldn't help but feel annoyed by his behavior, but she chose to overlook it for the evening. As the date came to an end, both Ray and Alex offered to drop Jasmine off at her home. She declined Alex's offer, suggesting that he should take his own date home, and instead left with Ray. In the following days, Jasmine and Ray continued to text each other and went on more dates. However, to her dismay, Alex continued to be present, insisting it was just a coincidence. Frustrated with Alex's continuous interference in her dates with Ray, Jasmine decided it was time to have a serious conversation with him. When she questioned why he kept interrupting her dates, Alex claimed that he believed Ray was bad news and he was trying to protect her from potential hurt. Jasmine, however, made it clear that she liked Ray and assured Alex that she could take care of herself. Despite Alex's attempts to convince her otherwise, Jasmine remained resolute in her decision. This led to a heated argument, and Alex, in his frustration, declared that he wouldn't interfere in her personal life anymore and stormed off. Jasmine couldn't help but feel a hint of sadness as Alex made his decision to back off, but she knew it was necessary. She and Ray continued to go on more dates, this time without any interruptions from Alex. During one of their outings, when Jasmine wasn't expecting it, Ray surprised her with a kiss and even snapped a picture. This unexpected move caught Jasmine off guard, and she pushed him away, inquiring why he did that. Ray explained he thought it was a romantic gesture to capture the moment and make memories, but Jasmine made it clear she wasn't comfortable with such surprises and asked him not to do it again. Ray promptly apologized. The next day at school, Jasmine's shock and disappointment were overwhelming as she approached Ray and overheard him proudly showing the picture of their kiss to his friends. He made degrading comments about her and mentioned that she was easy. To her dismay, it became evident that their kiss had been part of a bet, and his friends congratulated him and handed over money, all while sharing in his laughter. Jasmine, looking so angry, was about to give him a piece of her mind when suddenly Alex stepped in and punched Ray so hard in the face, making him fall and bleed instantly. Jasmine, overwhelmed by a mix of emotions including anger, hurt, and embarrassment, decided to leave the scene. She hastily wiped away her tears and headed straight home. Her feelings weren't necessarily about her affection for Ray, but more about being used and humiliated by someone she didn't even have genuine feelings for. Furthermore, the fact that Alex, who had previously been so protective, turned out to be right in his concerns, added to the complex mix of emotions she was experiencing. Sitting on her bed, Jasmine was lost in thought when Alex unexpectedly entered her room through the window. She asked him what he was doing there, to which he explained that he came to see if she was okay. Jasmine, still feeling a mix of emotions, asked him about his promise not to pry into her business anymore. In response, Alex hugged her and expressed his concern, emphasizing that he cared about her deeply as her best friend. Jasmine, struggling with her feelings, pushed him away and confessed that the problem was she didn't want to remain just his best friend. She wanted more than that from their relationship. After a few moments of silence, Alex finally admitted, "What if I feel the same way?" Jasmine couldn't help but react with a sarcastic laugh, questioning what he meant. Alex, however, was sincere in his response. He confessed that lately, he hadn't been able to stop thinking about her, and what he felt when he looked at her was different from a typical friendship. Jasmine skeptically asked if he wanted to treat her as one of his flings, but Alex quickly reassured her that this was not the case. He explained that since these feelings had surfaced, he hadn't even looked at other girls in the same way. He couldn't pinpoint when or how it all began, but he was certain that he really liked her, not just as a friend. Jasmine was left in a state of mixed emotions, unsure of how to process what she had just heard. While she should have felt excited, Her feelings were complex and overwhelming. She shared with Alex that she liked him too, but at this moment in her life, she didn't want to be involved with anyone romantically. Instead, she wanted to focus on herself. Alex completely understood her decision and assured her that she could take all the time she needed. He was willing to wait for her as long as necessary, but he emphasized that he didn't want her to avoid him or act awkward around him. He wanted to maintain their friendship while giving her the space and time she desired. Despite her agreement with Alex, Jasmine found it challenging to follow through. In the days that followed, she continued to avoid him whenever she saw him and often made excuses to leave whenever he attempted to engage in conversation. One day, as Jasmine sat in class, she overheard a conversation between two of Alex's ex-girlfriends. They were talking about how Alex was going to leave the country the following week, and they expressed their feelings of missing him. Unable to contain her emotions, Jasmine bolted out of her class and frantically searched for Alex. When she finally found him, she pulled him into an empty classroom and, without hesitation, punched his shoulder with her little fist while tears streamed down her face. Jasmine confronted Alex with a mix of anger and hurt, accusing him of confessing his feelings for her and then planning to leave without even informing her. She expressed her frustration, saying, "I hate you. If you leave, I'm never going to forgive you. Please don't leave." In response, Alex gently held her face, wiping away her tears, and reassured her, "I'm not going anywhere." Jasmine, still skeptical, responded by calling him a liar, mentioning the rumors she had heard about his departure the following week. Alex thought for a moment, then laughed, still holding her face, as he prepared to explain the situation. Alex reassured Jasmine that his upcoming trip was only for a week to attend his cousin's wedding, not a permanent departure. Jasmine, relieved to hear this, took a step back and playfully punched his shoulder again while sniffing. As she was about to leave, Alex pulled her back and with a smile asked if her punch was her way of answering his question. Confused, Jasmine inquired, "What question?" Alex responded, "That you're ready to be with me now." Jasmine replied, "Do you think it's going to be that easy?" With a warm smile, Alex responded, "As long as I get to be by your side." Jasmine, in a playful manner, suggested, "I'm going to give you 3 months to prove yourself before we can become an official couple." Smirking shyly, Alex enthusiastically accepted the challenge, saying, "Challenge accepted." Jasmine replied, "We'll see how long you'll last." Alex moved his face closer to hers and said, "Maybe an hour, maybe a week, maybe a month, maybe a year, maybe a decade, maybe 1,000 years. And even in our next lives." In a moment of intimacy, Alex gazed into Jasmine's eyes and softly asked, "Can I kiss you?" in the lowest, sexiest tone ever. Jasmine was tempted to shout yes, but she wanted to maintain her playful composure, so she replied, "No, you're still on probation." Alex patted his lips and said, "Okay." However, Jasmine quickly added, "But you can get a little kiss on the cheek as a bonus." She stood on her toes, giving him a gentle kiss on the cheek. This kiss felt different from all the others they had shared on the cheek. With a flirty smile, Alex asked for one more bonus to hold Jasmine's hand. She looked at him, smiling, and then locked her fingers with his as they walked out of the classroom hand in hand. Jasmine had known Alex as a flirt who didn't typically take relationships seriously. But in that moment, she decided to trust him and embrace the joy of the present. Their relationship was evolving, and they were ready to enjoy the journey together.